New world order is almost complete. Notice, this is the power behind the scene secret societies and also the mark of the beast that they already have in the White House. Notice, United States, we don't know when they're going to enforce the law, but friends, we are living emergency time. Today you're going to find out the power, and you're also going to know the mark of the beast so that you can escape, because the Bible places a fearful curse for those who receive the mark of the beast. So watch this.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor for me. Thank you so much.
Friends, this is so-called the mother of the church that control the whole world. And what is Illuminati, all them secret society, including the New World Order. Notice, friends, a lot of good Christians in Roman Catholic Church that they don't understand the history of their church. Friends, Constantine was a pagan king in Rome. Notice, and he's the one who united church and state together. And this is what happened. When the pagans, when they brought statues and a lot of things in the church because they wasn't converted. So they began to change a lot of rules, and then they make people pay for their sin, and the people confess their sin to mankind. And sometimes they corrupt with wine. They call them priests. They make people bow down and kiss and worship the statue, idols that they give them Christian names. And so when the Protestants, notice, Protestants are the Sunday churches, they are forefathers. When they stood up and protest against human rules, idol, pagan, statue, traditions, and a lot of things that, they brought them in the church, they began to torture and persecute them. And so they set up the Jesuit order. Notice, during 1500, and then the Jesuit also, they create Masons, how they can destroy the Protestants or Protestants. And now they have all kinds of groups, because they create one group and they create another, what is a Skull and Bones or whatever groups that you might call it. I don't have to mention all of them, their names, but notice, and now they control the whole world, the New World Order. They walk smooth, they pretend like they are Christians, but their heart is not converted. And their Jesuit order also infiltrate politics. Notice, and they also set up democracy and United Nations, how they can control the whole world, the New World Order. Friends, and they're fooling the world because they make different groups, notice, and they make them play games like who's going to win and who's going to lose. But unfortunately, friends, if you're not part of secret societies, you're not allowed to become a president. And now they join the whole world money. That's why the whole world is in a financial crisis. Notice, friends. And just in case you went out and you think, well, maybe United States, we go to war in Iraq and different country. That's why we run out of money, friends. You have to ask yourself another question. If we cut money, notice, why are we going to run out of money? Do we need a diamond, gold to cut money? We don't. We live in the high-tech world, friends. Why we don't run out of technologies? Friends, even if the United States go to war, that's why we run out of money. Why every country also own money, friends? But that little country, Rome, notice the Vatican, the seat of the New World Order, they don't own nothing, friends. They control the whole world because they control the whole world president. That's why every president have to go to Rome and visit, friends. Watch this.
Benedict XVI heads to the U.S. this coming week for his first visit here since being elected Pope 3 years ago. He'll be spending a total of 5 days in Washington, D.C. and New York. The Vatican released a video message from Benedict urging Americans to pray for the trip. Benedict arrives in Washington Tuesday. The next day, he'll have a private meeting with President Bush at the White House, where the war in Iraq is expected to be high on the agenda. On Friday, Benedict travels to New York, where he will address the United Nations General Assembly. The UN event was his original reason for coming to the U.S., and many experts believe that speech could be the most important of his trip. Kim Lawton takes a look at the unique role the Pope and the Vatican play on the world stage.
Soviet leader Joseph Stalin was once questioned about the influence of the Vatican. Stalin is famously said to have replied, "The Pope, how many divisions has he got?" The answer, as it turns out, is more than Stalin and many others might have guessed. Experts say the Pope and the Vatican wield considerable global influence.
They don't have economic engines they have to feed. They don't have armies. They don't have land. The Vatican is only 106 acres. It's the smallest nation state in the world, but it is a huge moral, spiritual superpower.
In questo momento.
As the Bishop of Rome, Pope Benedict XVI is a spiritual head of the Roman Catholic Church worldwide. But he also wears another hat, head of state for the independent territory of Vatican City and the Catholic Church's government, called the Holy See.
It's the tension between those two roles that actually gives him a resilience on the international stage, that he doesn't just speak for a geopolitical unit, but also for a demographic within the world.
The Holy See has played an active global role for centuries. It has permanent observer status at the United Nations and has all the rights of full UN membership. The Holy See has formal diplomatic relations with 177 countries around the world, including the U.S. Ambassadors, called apostolic nuncios, represent the Holy See from embassies like this one in Washington, D.C. The U.S. has sent an ambassador to the Holy See since 1984. The current U.S. ambassador at the Vatican is Harvard law professor Marianne Glendon, who took up her post in February. James Nicholson held the position from 2001 to 2005.
I always said I practice moral diplomacy.
During the more than 25 years of his pontificate, John Paul II dramatically raised the profile of the papacy on the international level and played a key role on many fronts, such as helping to bring down communism in Eastern Europe. Throughout his extensive travels, he was a vigorous global voice. Benedict has continued that advocacy, which experts say reflects foundational Catholic beliefs. But times have changed since John Paul became Pope.
We don't have the Soviet Union anymore. What we have is the problems in the Middle East, which is where Pope Benedict has been directing his attention.
The personalities have also changed.
Whereas John Paul, if you look at the entire pontificate, was very much outwardly oriented toward the church and the world.
During a visit to Turkey, Benedict made a high-profile visit to a mosque.
On the one hand, a great deal of setback and dialogue certainly occurred. On the other hand, after the initial setback, a number of moderate Muslim scholars actually wrote to the Pope, 138 of them, and said, well, we have some differences clearly, but now that they're highlighted, maybe we should engage in a dialogue. And so a process of dialogue has begun.
But Benedict again generated controversy in the Islamic world on the Saturday before Easter, when he baptized a prominent Muslim journalist at a service in St. Peter's Basilica.
It could have occurred anywhere. The parish priest could have done it very quietly, discreetly. But I think the Pope chose to do it himself.
The Iraq War has been another foreign policy challenge, beginning with John Paul's papacy. He's also been quietly working to establish relations, something that was not possible during the last papacy, largely because of John Paul's role in the fall of communism in Poland.
The Chinese obviously didn't want John Paul II running around China doing the same thing.
Most of the time, in places around the world, Vatican diplomats work outside the spotlight, where experts say they often have an advantage. Some question how much government leaders of today truly listen to what the Pope has to say. And that, observers say, is a moral authority that can't be measured by economic strength or military divisions. A moral authority Benedict hopes to draw upon when meeting with U.S. officials and speaking before the United Nations. I'm Kim Lawton in Washington.
You came from the conference Heiligendamm.
I did, your old country.
Yes.
And it was successful.
Successful, you have some decisions. It's not so easy with all